guess. How do I sound?
What the hell does that mean?
Am I screaming? Am I screaming like last week or whatever episode that was?
You weren't screaming. You sounded great to me. I thought it was perfect on my side.
But the audiograph tells differently. That tells a different story, Red.
Well, sure.
Yeah, whatever that's
I'm
called.
Screaming.
Audiograph?
I'm literally. You're talking normally. I keep my mic so far away from me. Are we rolling? We are rolling?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, welcome to Loser Leaves Wrestling. Oh, my God. What a crazy time. My name is Red Jefferson. I'm here with Moa Jazzwall. How the heck are you, Moa?
Hey, Red. I'm doing okay today. I took a nap. Right before Dynamite. I got up. I didn't even make an alarm for myself. So my body knew it was Dynamite day. So I got up at 6:45. I was ready for it. So, yeah. Things are good.
How do you do it, boy? How do you do it? I could never nap in the day and be this energetic. I nap and that ruins the rest of the day. Ruins it.
You gotta drink a couple beers during Dynamite to get ready for this. That's my secret.
That's fair.
Yeah. Then also sometimes my body just resets. You know, during the pandemic, it's just like, no, you're done. You're too stressed out. You gotta reset and keep going. You know, I haven't done this in a while, so.
Well, I'm glad that we're having a fun time. Moat's been drinking a couple beers. I'm finishing this Arabella Shiraz.
Yeah, that owl stopper is beautiful. Look like there you go.
Isn't it cute?
It is very cute.
It was shown on Two Cute Brothers, which is an Instagram live show. It was one of my cute items.
I watched. I was transitioning. The Two Cute Brothers universe is connected to the Loser Leaves Wrestling universe now.
I saw that Loser Leaves Wrestling joined the Two Cute Brothers broadcast, and I was pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that was my mistake.
Remember, folks, to follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Loser Leaves Wrestling. Twitter is Loser Leaves Pod. And make sure to find us on all your podcast devices, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Please do that. But we're here talking about Dynamite today. This is right after the show, by the way. I had never mentioned that. This is right after the show. We just closed off the thing. We're jumping right into it. And today's Dynamite, I had mixed feelings. I don't know about you, Moa, but I had some mixed feelings about it. We start the night off with the Young Bucks versus the Dark Order. Young Bucks get the big W here. Moa, is the Dark Order the only real heel tag team in AEW?
No, there's Santana or Ortiz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Scratch that comment. How'd you like the match, Moa?
It was okay. I like those two teams. I like their double team moves, so it was fun just seeing them perform together. I thought they have good chemistry. I did not like the shenanigans that much, or at least what became of them. I feel like Dark Order should have won. And that's why I don't like the shenanigans, because I thought they used the minions, the whatever you call it, so like intelligently, to the point where like
how could they not win?
Yeah.
How could they not win? It was insulting, because JR even said in the match, and I love that JR said that because it makes sense. The Young Bucks cannot win a handicap match. No one should be able to win a handicap match. Only on special occasions where they kind of get the upper hand or something happens, or like they're huge, they're a giant person, should they ever win. But you're right. They had such good numbers match where they had the numbers. They beat them down beforehand. What would it take to beat the Young Bucks, Moet?
I don't know. Even two more of them. Bring out the whole Dark Order. Maybe. We'll see. Who knows? I think they won because of the tag team appreciation night thing, because it'd be really weird on the same show where they lose the belts to have these, or not the belts, sorry, where they lose the match to have these like old timers like talk them up as the best tag team ever. It'd be a little silly, but yeah, that's the only reason why I think they won. Otherwise, I think it should have went to the Dark Order and keep pushing them into like a legitimate threat. But it is what it is.
Especially with what's coming up next week, but we'll get to that in a moment. Next up, we have a quick segment of MJF beautifully walking, and a perfect segment that was only a few seconds long. That's what I love. That's what I crave. Do you care at all about MJF walking, Moet?
No, but I don't like his, I don't care about his walk. I don't like him as a person, but yeah. And I the sexism against the one female intern or whatever is like really starting to bother me.
Well, let's talk about the MJF promo right now then, because it's coming up in just a little bit. Yeah, I feel like the sexist comments, I didn't mind it in that one segment. What was it, 1 or 2 weeks ago, where he's made a little comment, but having it be a recurring thing, I don't need to see any more sexism on my TV. I know you're a villain, MJF.
Yeah.
Right? We already know. We already know you're a villain. You don't have to keep even heelishly degrading women. You did it once, do it every now and then, but having it be a weekly thing is just stupid.
Yeah, I prefer he just doesn't do it at all. But that's his thing, is he does that. He pushes buttons. So, but it's obnoxious. And
how'd you feel about the promo?
I didn't even like the promo either. I thought they big what for me, Red. It's on my list.
Big what?
What? It's a big what?
The woos and whats. The woos and whats.
Yeah, it's my best of words, our version. It's they botched the whole thing where he's on the floor, like he wasn't in the middle of the ring, and the camera above can't move. You could tell, so you could tell it could only zoom in, and they did their best, but it just didn't look good, and also it didn't make sense.
It was in the wrong spot.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense what he was doing to me at first. Like it didn't it's like, this is what you're used to, right? But it's not, because he's the world champ and he wins all the time. I guess he was saying like he's used to being on his back, like losing, but he doesn't.
No. I think this is because like first thing, a lot of the stuff when he was still standing was basically the same promo as last week. It was basically the same thing in terms of tone, whatever. Then he lays on the ground basically saying, "Oh, this is what you're used to, John." The other guy laying on their back, like giving it up for you, which is too insider baseball. Like the idea like, oh, you're going to lay down for John because John's this WWE guy. That's what he was trying to say, which I don't mind on a blog, but like to have it on my TV, that's too insider baseball. You're not really showing me that he's a threat. You don't show me that he's a threat. You don't show me that you're a threat. I feel like that's just dumb.
Yeah, one of the Nick Jackson said that in his match too. Best comeback of the year, whatever. Best comeback in wrestling. He said after his comeback. Yeah, I thought that was super obnoxious and just
I don't
not necessary.
need that. I think it's breaking that wall like that. Maybe I'm being too much of an old person. Maybe I'm listening to JR too much. Maybe that's the issue. But that type of stuff, like there should be some rules to wrestling. There should be some unbroken rules. Otherwise, it really takes the fantasy out. Well, moving on, we get just to talk about it briefly. This is Tag Team Appreciation Night. We're going to get to the big moment at the end, but in the between parts, we had AEW tag teams talk about their favorite tag teams, which really built up through the night. It was a pretty interesting runner. Woo or what to that, Moet? Is that a woo? Like you like that, or what? As in it's dumb and you wish it were gone.
So they only did 2, right? They did Kenny and so I remember Kenny and Hangman, and then the Private Party. What was the third one?
Oh, there's 4 then. Oh no, there's 3. Kenny Omega, Private Party, and Butcher and Blade.
Oh, I missed Butcher and Blade. What did what'd they say?
Road Warriors.
Oh, that's a good one. That must have been interesting. Because
that's a good one.
The first 2 were like super boring. They didn't like offer anything new. Like obviously, Private Party were going to say Hardy Boys, and they didn't even say that much like about why they like them. And then the other one was just like a bullshit like storyline development that didn't really like offer any fire to it. You know.
That's actually what I kind of liked about it. I was going to talk to you about it because see, this is live. We're streaming live, folks.
my pen exploded.
There's no fluff here. We're not editing that out because it's live, dog. But I thought that was some interesting but story continuing with Kenny Omega and Hangman. I thought was interesting that they said the Young Bucks, and then Hangman's like, "What about us?" And he's just like, which shows that I like the idea that Kenny secretly doesn't think much of him and Hangman as a team. Like it's almost like a side thought to him. I feel like he's a real distracted, tortured person. I watched Being the Elite this week.
Ooh.
I did watch it. I watched Being the Elite, and the fact that they are so condescending towards him for not being the cleaner.
Yeah.
Not being that
Red, I'm so proud of you. Look at you.
But like I'd like to see what the issue is with Being the Elite. It's not canon. I don't care what anyone says. There's so much different things going on in there. They can't belong in the same universe. It's an alternate reality. Being the Elite is this alternate reality where they kind of act the same, but they don't.
Yeah,
You know?
no, dude, it's reality, or it's canon, man. Yeah, it's canon. There's a lot of skits that you kind of they're like storylines that happen in Being the Elite.
It's like the Marvel universe. It's like the Marvel universe where they jump in one reality, they jump into another, they converge at times, but like none of the characters act the same on AEW as they do in Being the Elite. And I know they're on camera, but I would like some more continuity to that. For instance, Matt Hardy, fucking on AEW, he's Matthew Hardy. Being the Elite, he's a schizophrenic. He's this very disturbed person.
Actually, that's you mentioned Marvel movies. That's actually a great comparison because it's like their version of, say, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it's it's the same characters there, but heightened into silliness, comedic side. But you still have whatever, I guess the Avengers or whatever you want to call the Dynamite. Like that still works. What's wrong?
I'm trying to think of a better analogy to emphasize my point. Bill and Ted? I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Let's just move on because we could talk about Being the Elite. We should do a Being the Elite podcast one of these days. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We could do that. Matt Hardy promo. Matt Hardy comes in and he talks a little bit. It wasn't a bad promo, but I have a question, Mo. Does Sammy have a weird little ass?
Does he have a little ass?
Matt Hardy said he's going to beat Sammy's weird little ass.
Did he say that? No, I didn't do my my note taking this week, Fred. That's so funny.
That's fair. Me and Moa had some crossed wires, but he called Matt Hardy called Sammy Guevara's ass a weird little one, and then he beat up the ref because he thought it was Sammy Guevara.
That was good.
He was walking by.
Well, hold on. What's your interpretation? What's your opinion on his butt?
No, I have no interpretation on this, but I think Matt misspoke in a very silly way, in a very funny, hard and fast way.
Fair. I think he does have a weird little ass, though. I think that was a Freudian slip. You're telling the truth.
Does he have a weird little ass? I actually, one of the things is I've seen other guys' asses, but I haven't seen Sammy's. I didn't even notice.
Well, because it's weird. It's little. Yeah, that's what I mean.
The baby ass?
He's got a baby ass. Yeah. It's a muscular baby butt.
Man, his gimmick should be called baby ass. We're moving on to Scorpio Sky versus Cody. Moet. JR said, who kicks out of the Crossroads? My question to you, Moet, who doesn't kick out of the Crossroads?
That's a strong one. What do you mean? Does that happen consistently? That's a finisher. That's one of his big moves.
Every finisher at AEW has been kicked out of. If not twice a match.
Now they have, yeah. They protected Jericho's elbow, the Judas elbow or Judas effect, whatever the hell.
Until the first Orange Cassidy match.
Yeah.
And then it was nuked. I just feel like, do finishers matter in AEW to you? Or
no, but not even just AEW. That's just like a new wrestling thing. That's been even in NXT. NXT does this sort of egregiously, but every wrestling. So it's not just AEW. People kick out the finishers, and I think, they're not protected like they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
The
finisher. I have a question. Oh, sorry.
No, the finisher itself is not protected the same way as it used to be in the 90s,
it's true.
80s.
It's true. It's on all platforms, which is upsetting to me and Jim Cornette. How do you like the new big belt design, the TNT television title?
Beautiful. Loved it.
It's much better.
It's funny because it's hard for me to tell because I'm so used to that ugly silver design. So like it's such a massive improvement from that. Right. Mm-hmm. But I think it's clouded my judgment. I still can't tell if it's actually good or not, but I love it compared to that. I'm glad they finished the damn belt finally.
I like I love the TNT part, and I love the empty circle, the gold empty circle. Something about that just looks pretty old school to me. But then let's move on to the match. Cody comes out with his big entourage, the whole Nightmare team. It seems, at least at the moment. Then they come out, and Scorpio Sky, and the special guest referee is Mike Chioda, who I guess is with the company right now. How'd you like the match, Moet?
It was okay. I like we talked recently about match psychology. I thought the psychology here was good of attacking the midsection consistently. It never felt like it kind of got out of whatever gear it was in. It felt like it was missing something. Yeah, it was fine. What'd you think?
I thought it was the shortest of Cody's matches. I think it was pretty short, but I honestly liked it. I thought Scorpio looked good, and that's a way to have a good short match. I don't need them to be all 15, 20-minute all-stars. This was a solid 10 and 12 match, and that's like my matches for the most part, like a median of 12. Yeah. I think a median average of match length is 12 would be perfect. Going over is cool, going under is cool, but let's get it in that range rather than the average being like, what, 15, 18 minutes?
For sure, yeah. And they got good storytelling across from it. They got, helping them in through the ropes when Scorpio Sky did to Cody. And just like, there was a lot of good character moments for Scorpio Sky of how much it meant to him and how much he believed in himself. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was excellent. Well, right after that, we have Brodie Lee challenging Cody for the TNT television title. Are we going to have a new title holder next week?
I don't know. I didn't consider Brodie Lee challenging for that. It just kind of came up out of nowhere, but I liked it. I want to see that match. I'm curious about it. I think he should win or else he'll look like a big loser at this point because he did the same thing to Jon Moxley when he started. Yeah. He lost. If he loses to Cody here, like where else is he going to go from here?
If he loses to Cody, he's in no better position than he was in WWE. As Luke Harper, they kind of give him a thing with the Intercontinental Championship, but then all of a sudden he's just like an imposing guy in a tag match. That's what he's become right now, where he's like, what do they call him? The game changer. They call Brodie Lee the game changer because in a tag match, he's a big imposing force, but he seems to never do anything in singles competition.
Yeah, I like that they were kind of building it up throughout the commentary during the match of how he like the weekly matches against all these like big contenders trying to prove themselves is starting to get to Cody, and he's like the EVP, so it's just a really insane schedule in real life too. Like it's surprising he's even doing it. It's going to wear on him, and so someone like Brodie Lee could potentially take advantage of that.
I hope so. I hope so much because I think that would be good, interesting character development for Cody. And in all honesty, the Dark Order is dead in the water if they don't win next week. And please stop screaming, Luke Harper. We hear you. We fucking hear you. I don't know. I'm so upset about his
I like
screaming.
it. I think it's great. I think it's great seeing that side of him. Yeah.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree. We're gonna fight about this forever, I think. But you know what? We have a next match: Jurassic Express versus Omega and Page. I don't have a lot to say about this. What did you think about the match, Mo?
Also, another solid match. Good TV match. I like that Kenny's showing himself to be a heel as well. He's doing a lot of heel tactics in here, slowly cranking it up. This whole that side of him, which is nice.
Yeah.
He suplexed Marco Stutt out of nowhere, which I thought you'd love. That was a woo. Yeah, that would have been a woo for me. I don't know. That's the biggest thing that came out of it for me is seeing the slow heel turn of Kenny Omega.
Yeah, it was a good match. I usually am more critical of Jurassic Express matches, but I thought this was one of their better outings where not too many botches because they do have a lot of botches at times. But one was a good solid match. I'm glad with Omega Page getting the win. After that match, we have a Santana.
There you go.
Santana Ortiz segment
Santino,
where they
our good friend Santino, who nobody knows about except Santino.
Yeah, our good friend Santino. Shout out to Santino if you ever watch this, because honestly, I can imagine Santino watching this.
Yeah, he would love this. I think he'd get a kick out of us.
Shout out to Santino. We got Santana Ortiz throwing the best friend's gear into the shower and then pouring bleach on it. Man, what can you do to get the best friends more pissed off, Moet?
Yeah. You've already
got
Suzanne.
You think that was fun?
That's the top. No, I didn't care for that one either. It's fine. I don't think it was necessary. I think there's no payoff to it unless something is going to happen next week. I don't know. It's a bit silly.
Well, if I may make one I noticed, and I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but I kind of like it. One of the cardinal sins in the locker room is messing with someone else's gear. Like, that's a big sin. Like, you don't touch someone's gear. When you're ribbing, you don't touch someone's gear and you don't fuck with someone's car. And they did that the past 2 weeks. Like, those are cardinal sins. You go to wrestler's court for that shit.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. I don't think they're actually doing that, but either way.
Good insight, though. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think too much about things. A little obsessive. Next up, we have the Tag Team Appreciation Night with Tully, Arn, the Rock and Roll Express. We got FTR and the Young Bucks. Moet, were you waiting the entire time for someone to beat up Ricky Morton?
I didn't see that coming, honestly. Yeah, I don't. I feel like a real, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bad mood today, or maybe it's just because of the nap or something. But I thought this was garbage. I was really upset by this. I thought the first half was like this, like, circle jerk appreciation for the freaking owners of the company. Like, they've done a good job of, like, not making me think about that too often. But every now and then something like this happens where they get, like, all these legends to come in and just talk about how great they are. It's obnoxious. Yeah. And then Tully's promo happened, which made me think it was changing.
Tully was fucking lit.
It was good. That was starting to change. But then FTR attacked the Ricky.
You didn't like that?
No, because I just didn't like it because I just don't like this wishy-washy storytelling anymore. They've led me on for too long. Like, I don't know why they did it. There was no character motivation for them to attack them. They didn't do anything. It's the same as, like, a couple weeks ago when they spilled the beer on Kenny Omega's head and then, like, the very next week apologize for it and then end up in a match together. It doesn't, like, just commit to being jerks or don't, or just don't.
I have a theory for you, Moet, that I think you're going to enjoy, because you specified past few weeks that you think FTR is going to be a part of Cody's new stable, whatever that is, Four Horsemen-esque. But I'm thinking, especially with what happened tonight with Sean Spears coming out, Tully getting the face of the Rock and Roll Express, FTR beating up Ricky Morton, I see a separate faction eventually rivaling Cody's, with Tully, Sean Spears, FTR, and then someone else. I don't know who that fourth man is, but I can't wait.
Oh, but he's a bad dude. I like that.
Oh, he's a bad dude.
Get that. Somebody else in there.
Lord. I think it's something. Next up, we have a Mike Chioda segment where Jericho comes out. They talk back and forth. Jericho wants him to flub the match a little bit. It seems like he's trying to get him to do something. Moet, have you noticed that Jericho's jacket is completely orange now?
I laughed so hard when I saw that. I thought that was so good. That's one of my favorite storylines in AEW right now, is watching the jacket get worse and worse every week. It's just such a silly concept. Very funny.
Yeah.
I like this segment a lot. I thought it was great. I thought it reminded me of just a couple weeks ago when he single-handedly created this trilogy fight by himself by just mentioning in a promo of how he wants to, like, wrestle Orange Cassidy, and all of a sudden that's just in our head now, like this, like, just by pointing at Chioda and being like, you better do the right thing or make the right call or whatever. Like, all of a sudden he just adds, like, a little tiny storyline into this match that just makes it a little bit more unique. So he's so good at that stuff. Not enough wrestlers kind of point that out and do that.
How do you feel about this new interviewer?
Who was it?
This old guy.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, he's this old guy that seems like a Tim and Eric character.
Really?
He's slightly awkward. He's just the amount of slightly awkward or slightly unprofessional. I can't tell, because he never seems to know what to do. Try for all our viewers out there, follow us on Loser Leaves Wrestling on Instagram and YouTube, and Loser Leaves Pod on Twitter. Check it out, because I think it's very funny to see this guy go. Next up, we have the women's champion Hikaru Shida versus Heather Monroe. Heather Monroe. How do you feel about debuting wrestlers facing the champ, Moet?
I think that's fine, because I assumed she was going to be a jobber. It wasn't really a jobber type of match, so that is confusing to me. But if that's all you're in there for, I think that's totally fine. I didn't like this match.
You didn't like it?
No. Thought it was a cool finisher, but bad match. I think it was too short. It's the only women's match on the whole roster, 2 weeks in a row where the only women's match is about 3 minutes long or whatever it was. It's too quick. And then she has a really bad promo at the end that just says just maybe like less than 5 words in her promo. I don't know. I think I'm adding excess baggage to this match because I'm frustrated that they're still like pushing them behind despite the outrage online right now.
This is the issue. You're right with everything that you said about women's wrestling in AEW. 100%. They're not treated equally. They're not treated fairly. Them being the only women's match on the card, them being a no more than 5 minute match, not acceptable. Her having a short promo, also not necessarily acceptable. But I love this match. I loved this freaking match. That's how you do a 5 minute match and get both your shit in. Heather Monroe looked like a badass in the beginning. She looked like a badass, and I wrote down she's the Tanya Harding of wrestling. She just seems like such an aggressive white trash character. I loved her. I loved her so much. I want her to be a part because she is so aggressive, good wrestler, gave Shida a good win, a really solid win because like she fought back and then Hikaru looked just so strong in the end. And I didn't mind the interview at the end. My issue is everything around it, like you mentioned. That was the only women's thing on the entire show.
God, that promo,
and it lasted no more than 10 minutes.
I'm frustrated with the promo because she still doesn't have a character. Like, if you're going to give her a promo, give her some character traits. Give her something instead of just like, I'll fight anybody or whatever she says. Like, it doesn't offer anything. Like, that's an issue with UFC fighters. That's like when you win a fight in UFC, it's a big moment. It's become a big moment because people like Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor in the past, they've taken that opportunity to call out the champs at that moment and be super charismatic in those like 30 seconds they have. And so it's become that. And so people criticize fighters that come up and it's like, what do you think is going to happen next to you? And like, I don't care. I'll fight anyone in the division. Just get me into a fight. I love fighting. It's like, well, no one gives a shit about you now because that doesn't, okay, we'll see you next time, you know?
Again,
drama. I'm looking for drama.
But like, we have to put ownership on that to a little bit to Shida because there's no writers for AEW. And the wrestlers are in control of their characters. And in all honesty, Shida has a language barrier that she's still trying to work on. And unless she gets a manager, it's hard for her to develop a new character. Right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's true. That's true. That's why I assume that's why it was so short. I don't want to, I'm not upset at that aspect of it, of course, because I'm not a monster. I'm trying not to be a monster, Red.
Freaking me out right now. Do not cancel us. Moet, do not cancel us.
I'm trying to be a good person.
We're uncancelable.
I'm just saying that, like, if you're going to do a promo and if you know that's like a weakness of her, then give her a manager or don't do it, like find a way to make it, to make her strengths shine more than her weaknesses. So
I would love for someone like, what I would love? Have Tully take her in. No, Tully's a great manager. Let Tully be her manager.
Well, he's a heel though. She's a like white hot babyface kind of right now. That's in the women's division.
I want to change it completely. I'm not a booker, Moet. Next up, we're moving on to Jake the Snake and Lance Archer in the back. Moet, what is Lance Archer's relationship with Jake the Snake, and why does it seem abusive?
God damn it, Red. God damn it. If we had a list of best and worst, which I do, because I thought that's how we were going to do the show tonight, then if we happen, then this would be my number one. This was the most frustrating thing. Because I don't. Yeah.
Number one or what?
Oh, of my what of the night. Okay. Number one, what? Because I'm personally not a fan of this development in their like. Why does he have any intention to be to fight for him in this way? Like before it was like, I'm a bad, from Jake's perspective, like I'm a badass wrestler, but I'm too old, so I can't do this. So I know the guy that can, and I'm going to help him become this. Right. That's how I saw it. So like when he rips the shirt off and does that, now he's this like wiener kind of like wimpy guy that I don't know. I'm not a fan. Yeah.
I hated that. I liked everything up into because I'm starting to get used to it and really like the beatdown with the talking over. I didn't like the first time, but the past 2-3 weeks gotten real into it. Them ripping off the shirt, being abusive, elder abuse. But like, I felt like it ruined their relationship. Hopefully they forget about this. They forget it and just move on, because I like the idea of Jake being that type of mentor that'll slap you in the face and be like, focus in. We want you in the game. Like, he should be the father figure, like a father figure to this guy. And for him to rip off his shirt because he painted something on it, I hated that. And I could see that you hated it as well.
Jake in storyline, Jake's done some really messed up stuff in the ring. So, like, you could see why someone like Lance Archer...
He's a bad man.
Yeah, why Lance Archer would look up to him and, like, listen to him whenever he tells you what to do, because he's gone through it,
I do want to reserve my true judgment, because right now I'm being judgy, and I don't like it. But I've never seen a wrestler-manager pair like that.
What's that?
I've never seen a manager and a wrestler have that type of relationship where the wrestler is abusive to the manager, or almost like elder abuse.
Oh, I'm sure that's happened before. I feel like that has.
Can you think of a single time where the wrestler has consistently beat up on his manager?
Not literally beat up. I can't think of someone off the top of my head.
I've seen them grab their shirt, but that's to the end of their relationship. There's going to be a breakup soon, Yeah. But during the moment, at least at the moment, hey, Loser Leaves Wrestling fans, come at us. Say in the comments whether you've seen a wrestler beat up their manager frequently, almost as if he's like almost a weird abusive relationship. So that's a big what for you, Moen, huh?
Yeah, didn't like it. Don't like where it's going. I wish they just forgot about it, like you said.
Well, you know what? We forgot about it. We're forgetting about it right now because we're at the main event of the evening. We got Orange Cassidy getting the big win over Chris Jericho.
That's good. I like that. You got to talk like that more often. That was really exciting.
I'm going to start getting into more radio style voice. Do you think Orange Cassidy is less effective without his comedy style wrestling?
Less effective in what way? Like as a character?
Less interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I've been watching his matches on the indies recently, where he does wrestle like I don't know how to describe it normally. I guess conventionally, the same way he wrestled tonight. You'd lose something about him. You lose some excitement, because then he still has to kind of show off that kind of wimpy side. So he can't.
Not wimpy.
I don't know. What do you call it? The whole like kind of
drunken master, drunken monkey. That's what it is. There's a style of martial arts where you're supposed to act drunk to throw your opponents off. Nope. And what he's doing is acting cool to throw his opponents off. Like he'll do the kicks. And the minute they try to show aggression, he turns a switch where he's just like bending backwards, doing very suave, fluid movements to throw them off guard. I think that's how he wins matches.
Yeah, it's very difficult to pull that off for an entire match. That's why I think he's like evolving. Yeah, short matches you could do, but a match like this, yeah.
I think he could do both. Because what happens is, I think if he's fired up, like in the beginning of this match, he had too much offense. He had way too much offense. Jericho's a former champ. Orange Cassidy is right now a rising mid card. He's the high mid card, right? And so I think whenever he's super aggressive, in my brain, if I was booking this and I was an agent for this in psychology, Orange Cassidy, whenever he's fired up, he should get his ass kicked, because he's throwing everything at them and they could beat this guy up. I almost want Jericho to get under his skin, so he comes at him all fist fury and stuff, and then Jericho keeps beating the shit out of him, and then in the middle of the match, he puts his hands in his pockets, and then all of a sudden he's able to turn around because he remembered, don't be angry. Who cares?
That's actually great. That's wonderful.
That would be good match psychology, because that's the reason he wins matches. That's always been the reason that he wins matches. Having me this fiery baby face is cool for a moment, maybe a spot in the match, or maybe in the very beginning. But like, he should turn on that switch eventually where he's just, that's what The Rock does. That's what Stone Cold does. That's what every wrestler does. You turn on your best stuff at the end.
Yeah. Do you ever see You ever get into Naito in New Japan? Do you know his whole shtick being just basically super cool? Tranquilo.
No.
I just forgot the word tranquilo. He's tranquilo.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, no, you don't need to go too much into it, but that's part of his thing is like being tranquilo at all times, and using that to kind of like a psychology to kind of piss off his opponents. One of the things that I love that he does is he comes to the ring in a full suit. and he purposely, like, he does this to like make the audience mad, to make everyone mad. He walks super slow to the ring and he just kind of stares at everyone, just his blank kind of face, and then he gets in the ring, and then his opponent, the ref, the entire audience has to watch him take off an entire suit and his like ring gear's underneath. So he takes the tie off, he takes the jacket, and he folds it, and he takes it, and it's so obnoxious. And that there's like a element of Orange Cassidy I kind of feel there, of like maybe he could use that to really piss off his opponents, his like kind of cool demeanor, which is kind of happening already. But yeah,
we should do a live broadcast where we both watch one of his matches, and literally our faces over as we're watching it. I would love that. Is that possible, Moet?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Why?
Of course we can. It's the internet.
Yeah, we could do anything on the internet.
We could do anything on the internet. Well, Orange Cassidy won the big match, and
it was good.
This.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were moving on from the match. I want to talk about the ending.
Continue.
Yeah, the ending was great. Yeah, I'm really happy that they're doing a third match. I thought the run-ins and everything, well, a little silly. It worked for me. I thought it was really exciting. I don't know. It got me like invested and hooked in the match. Yeah.
I didn't like the first half of the match. I didn't like it. But when Orange Cassidy was beaten up and he starts throwing the weak chops, that's when I started getting into it, because like that's why I was like, oh, he's throwing them off. He's throwing off, because that's what he does. He throws the weak chops. Then Jericho goes for something big, and he just totally reverses it. I love that. I thought the first half was boring. Second half was strong.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't care for the run-ins personally, because unless run-ins make a difference, do I ever care? Jake Hager came in and slammed the shit out of him, and it did nothing. So it means nothing to me.
I liked it in the sense like how I like blockbuster movies. Like I go in, what's wrong? I don't like I don't like Marvel movies that much, but I know what I'm getting myself into. I know that it's like, you're looking for the spectacle, you're looking for this stuff, so I'm like, this is stupid and boring. So
when you're on your way to Blockbuster, were you having an 8-track player, you old damn man? None of our viewers know about that.
I'm not talking about Blockbuster, the store, for God's sakes. I mean, like, Blockbuster is like a big movie, a summer tentpole movie.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe I'm the old man. Maybe that's the issue.
Yeah.
No, but I get what you're saying. But it's just, with AEW, there's too many of everything. There's too much of everything, and nothing means anything. So whenever there's a run-in, I'm just like, that's the third run-in in the show tonight, and not a single time, most of the time, the runs mean nothing. Dark Order can't win a fucking match. The Orange Cassidy gets slammed by this 6'7" fucking wrestler, and he doesn't lose. I forgot about it until you brought it up right now. Oh. That's how forgettable it was.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not just, again, this isn't just AEW, although they do it often. It's a wrestling trope that's been abused and misused for decades now, of like the run-in to get some like cheap heat, basically, on the babyface. And so like when I saw it, I knew what was happening, but it's still like, there's still a part of me where it works. It's still like, I still think like, that's the way this match is going to end. And then when Orange Cassidy kicks out, I'm like, maybe he has a chance. Of course, like, of course he was going to win, but anything that kind of disrupts my thinking, that gets me to think the opposite or get invested in the moment, is fantastic. So like, yeah, it is what it is. It's something like I could have done without it, but in the moment it kept me excited, and
No, I get it. I get your point of view, Mo. I may not agree with it, but I get it. That's what's the point of Loser Leaves Wrestling, that we respect each other for now until we start having storylines. What's your woo and the what of the night, Mo? One woo, one what?
I have a list this time.
I
know. One woo. I wrote Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. That's my number one. That's recency bias. I wrote the woos and whats immediately after
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too. Why would I write that? Let's say the next one, Cody versus Scorpio Sky. I could say because I like that. I like the psychology in the match. I like that Scorpio Sky still looks good, and it was a relatively short match for what those matches have become. I like the continuing subtle heel traits of Cody, like coming out with the whole family. Mm-hmm. And that's great, yeah.
And selling the ribs the entire time.
Yeah.
My big woo of the night is Ricky Morton getting his ass whooped. I loved that. When FTR beat the shit out of him, I was so happy because I love Tully. I love Tully getting fired up. What about Tully and FTR? I think they're they're a perfect combo. They're a perfect match. That's my big woo of the night. What's your big what of the night, Moet?
Big what of the night?
What made you say what?
Jake Snake. Jake Snake. I wrote Jake Snake, and then I realized Jake the Snake doesn't have a last name. Is it Snake?
Jake? Jake. He has a last name, Roberts.
Oh, god damn it. I'm an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I'm so dumb. Yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts, of course. Yeah, that whole promo was terrible. God. I
don't know what to pick. Everything was kind of mediocre for me.
Yeah.
Nothing was terrible. I guess the Lance Archer thing was good up until the end. I'm gonna say the MJF. Even though I love him to death. But that promo was the same one as last week. 2 Insider Baseball. I love the idea of a roof shot. Love the idea, but he was in the wrong spot for it, and so the shot suffered. That's my big what.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Well, we've finished another AEW Dynamite review. Please like us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. That's Loser Leaves Wrestling or Loser Leaves Pod on Twitter. But also, please subscribe on our Spotify and our Apple Podcasts because every little bit helps. We know Alex Merkin and Bacon are on it. Let's get you on it too.